Welcome to the Top Business Leaders Show, powered by Rise 25 Media. We feature top founders, executives, and business leaders from all over the world.
Chad Franson here, co-host for this show where we feature top restaurateurs, investors, and business leaders. This is part of our Spot On series. Spot On has the best-in-class payment platform for retail, and they have a flagship solution called Spot On Restaurant, where they combine marketing, software, and payments all in one. They've served everyone from larger chains like Dairy Queen and Subway to small mom and pop restaurants. To learn more, go to spoton.com. This episode is brought to you by Rise 25. We help B2B businesses to get ROI, clients, referrals, and strategic partnerships through Done For You podcasts. If you have a B2B business and want to build great relationships with clients, referral partners, and thought leaders in your space, there's no better way to do it than through podcasts and content marketing. To learn more, go to rise25.com or email us at support@rise25.com. Chris Medhurst is President and Chief Operating Officer at District Taco, with multiple locations in and around Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. Chris started with District Taco in 2010 as a general manager and then became Director of Operations, then VP of Finance and Operations, then Chief Financial Officer, and now President and COO. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, yeah, great to have you. Tell me about District Taco. For those of us who have not been there, don't live in that area, and what the customer experience is like when going there.
Sure. So District Taco is kind of a smaller, but between 2,500 and 3,000 square feet restaurant chain. We're a quick service / fast casual kind of concept. You go in, order at the counter or at one of our kiosks, and we make your food and try to get it out to you in less than 10 minutes. We've got all of our food is inspired by our founder, Osiris Hoyle, and his kind of family recipes. He grew up in Mexico and moved here when he was 18. And so he's from the Yucatan Peninsula area. They use a lot of garlic, lots of cooking over open fires and stuff. So that's always been the charbroiled meats and roasted tomatoes. All that's really been a part of our brand and part of our flavor since the very beginning.
Great. Is there kind of a story in terms of how District Taco got started?
Yeah. So Osiris, our CEO, who I mentioned, and his neighbor, who's also one of the founders and owners, Mark Wallace, kind of got together over beers and barbecuing. And Mark was really impressed by Osiris's cooking skills. And Osiris had just lost his job in the construction industry. This is in like 2009. And Mark was really impressed with his cooking, and Mark had just sold his first software company. So he was kind of looking for his next businesses to start. And they shook hands and agreed to start District Taco as a food truck. So it was actually more of a food cart, not an actual truck. It was a repurposed hot dog stand, actually. So they refitted it, made it work for tacos, and they kind of traveled around the DMV area around Washington, D.C., selling street tacos.
Wow, very cool. So as I mentioned, you got there in 2010. As far as I can tell, District Taco started in 2009. Is that right?
That's correct.
So they were there for a year, and then what kind of attracted you to them?
So it was actually a total accident. They started, I think, late in the summer in 2009, and they, closed down the food truck for the winter. I graduated in 2010 from James Madison, studied finance and economics. So I actually had gotten hired by Wells Fargo, and I, had planned on starting. That's why I moved up here from Harrisonburg, and they called me about, I think it was like 4 days before I was supposed to start, and said, "Hey, we just laid off 6,000 employees, and you're one of them." So I was jobless, and at the time, my landlord was friends with Mark and Osiris, and they said, "Hey, friends of ours are starting a food truck. Why don't you get a part-time job with them just so you can keep paying us rent?" So I was like, I guess that works. I'll just go and I was basically a cashier at the food truck with a fanny pack. And from there we kind of grew and opened 14 restaurants, and now we're franchising.
Wow, that is quite a story. Is there any part of you that wishes you had been able to work at Wells Fargo?
At this point, no, but there was definitely some times in the beginning when it was pretty grueling, getting up at 5 a.m. and getting the food truck ready, and even opening the first restaurant, and working there and closing until midnight, where I had kind of thought maybe I should get back into the finance world. But this is all I've ever known for my entire professional career. So it's been a wild ride, and much better than I expected it to go.
Did you had you worked in restaurants, as a part-timer, as a college student or anything like that?
No, I worked for my dad, who's a general contractor growing up. So I spent my summers digging holes and moving dirt around and getting tortured by him. I'd never worked in a restaurant.
So you came on board with District Taco and it was a food truck. Kind of take me through maybe the first year or so. You said you opened up 14 new stores. I'm sure that didn't happen all at the same time. What were kind of the early days like for you, and how did it evolve from the food truck days?
Yeah, so bringing it way back, we had one food truck. They didn't let me really inside the food truck because I was too tall. So I mostly stood outside and kind of operated and talked to the customers. And right when I was starting in 2010, like later, probably in July, we leased a space that would become our first restaurant. So we ended up using that for a commissary for about 4 or 5 months. And we actually, the first restaurant we built with like $120,000. I had a little bit of experience in construction, and Osiris was in construction. So we pretty much built the whole thing ourselves, and got used equipment on Craigslist and slapped it all together in a couple months, and opened in November of 2010 that year. So transitioning, I think, from the food truck to a restaurant was sort of a breath of fresh air in a way, because it's just really hard to operate in a food truck. You got to run back, and we were in a food cart, so if we needed supplies, we had to run back to the coolers in the van, which could be parked several blocks away. So opening up that restaurant and having the steady flow and not having to tweet that we were there, and not fighting the gyro guys for the spot that we wanted, and it was nice to open that brick and mortar location for the first time.
So the food truck was pretty popular, though. I mean, if you were there, you weren't hurting for like people.
Yeah, we had like three regular spots. I think two areas in Northern Virginia, Roslyn, Crystal City were probably our best. I think we were, some days we do about $1,500, which was really great for the time.
Mm-hmm. Did you so when you decided to open your first brick and mortar location, did you guys have to do much to get the word out, or was everybody so familiar with you due to the food truck days that they just showed up?
We were really fortunate. I think we had a really great following from the food truck, and the location that we picked was about 3 minutes from both Mark and Osiris's house. So their families, their friends, their kids, they had a lot of relationships in the community already. So it was really a perfect storm of all those things combined in that location. So we were doing really well right out the gate.
And I'm guessing that didn't stop until you decided to open your second location.
It did not stop. Yeah, we kept going. We opened our second store in 2012 downtown in Metro Center, which is probably 6 blocks from the White House or so, right across the street from the Treasury. That store did even better than our first, which was pretty mind-boggling. It was really a challenge. We got outbid on a couple sites, and we ended up picking this like 3-level place in downtown DC. And we had the prep and stuff in the basement, all of the customer service, like assembly and taking orders on the first floor, and then we had a little mezzanine with like we still have that store, but we had about 30 seats on the mezzanine.
So so then you guys open your third store. Does each location have its own kind of feel or vibe, or is it pretty like like fits the brand? Each one fits the brand exactly.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, we pride ourselves in consistency, but definitely the first three or four have a lot of character that's unique to them. And I think that was, partially a result of the real estate that we were in had a lot of history and a lot of character itself, but also because we were growing the brand and sort of learning as we go about the materials that we wanted to use to create the aesthetic, and then also to create this operational durability in the way that we could build restaurants so that they could last and didn't need to be repaired as often. So I would say, as we got further down the road, our 10th, 11th, 12th started to look much more consistent in terms of the look, but the first few were unique in a way and still are.
Yeah, sure. So I know you're COO, you've been CFO, so you've been kind of involved a lot in finance and operations. Are you kind of the visionary behind the stores, or is that somebody else?
I mean, I get involved in everything. It kind of a result of being there for so long.
Mm-hmm.
13 years of working with the same company. I've kind of seen it all, but I definitely don't do it myself. Cyrus is very involved, and we have a whole team of people who, getting ready for this franchise program. We're really relying on them to help us kind of develop the program and the standards and stuff.
So there are currently 14 locations, and is there one more on the way?
Yeah, we actually have our first two franchise locations under construction. The one that will open first is in Springfield, Virginia, and the next one will be in McLean. And then we've got about 70 more in the pipeline for hopefully the next 5 to 10 years.
Oh wow! So are you guys looking for franchisees?
We are. We're definitely looking for franchisees. We're really we started franchising in early 2022, and we just had a great first year. Tons of interest. We mostly focus on partners who've got existing multi-unit experience. So all of our current, I think, 5 franchise deals are with current or former multi-unit franchisees. So and we have a 5-unit minimum. So those people are coming in with tons of experience, and they're well capitalized, and they're teaching us things as we go, which has been great, I think, for both sides.
What would you say makes District Taco a good opportunity for a potential franchisee?
I think first and foremost, there's really nothing like us in the market. I believe that we're truly unique, and I think that we're our brand is situated in such a way that it doesn't cater to one type of person or one marketplace. We're really, we're families love us, all kinds of different demographics love us. And I think, we see ourselves as being like maybe in the better taco category, like a Five Guys or some of these other brands. But I've we just went over, we're redoing our FDD and looking at all the other competitors in the space. Our average unit volumes are like 1.9 million, which is really, no one even comes close in the Mexican fast casual space. So I think the uniqueness of our brand and the success we've shown is what really, I think, can provide value or makes us attractive to people.
You guys, they started as a food truck in '09. You came on board in 2010 when it was still a food truck. And, in the last, so that's what, 13 years ago. So in the past 13 years, you basically averaged one new restaurant per year, if not more. What do you think makes your brand so unique and so kind of successful? I mean, that's a pretty good opening rate, for especially considering you haven't been franchising much until now.
Yeah, and I would take out the years after 2020 because the whole industry was
Oh
crippled
yeah,
for
of course.
years. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing that makes us unique is really our flavors. Osiris's upbringing in the Yucatan Peninsula area of Mexico is a little town called Tecash. I actually got to go visit his family there, which was awesome last year. But a lot of those flavors have really. I mean, he's been like religious about making sure that those flavors from his childhood have carried over. And he's constantly in communication with his mom and his brother back home about how to improve the flavor and how to like trying to remember the recipes of these things that his mom made when he was a kid. And I think like a lot of the brands here are just kind of I feel like just slapped together trying to create a franchise concept, or a Mexican concept. Whereas I feel like the roots of our flavors and our food profile is just totally unique in comparison to the other brands.
You mentioned COVID. How did COVID impact or change operations at District Taco, if at all?
If at all, yeah. It completely changed everything. I was the CFO at that time, which was incredibly stressful. But it was also really, it was a great learning experience for us. We had to figure out how to survive, because we didn't know if we were going to be able to make payroll just like everybody else. But we did a lot. We did a ton to really cut down on any baggage that we had. We cut some menu items. We have reduced the floor plan of our future restaurants to kind of accommodate for all this online traffic. We were really fortunate because we enabled delivery kind of like end of 2019, and we also we had a really good curbside program. We use a partner called Radius Networks. Their product called Flyby, where we were set up for this kind of like social distancing food service environment already. So in that respect, we were able to just hit the ground running. But cutting staff, redoing processes and cutting menu items to really get back to the basics was really good for us. And I think we're much more efficient now, and the numbers will show it.
As kind of the guy who's head of operations, and with the amount of stores that have been seemingly kind of constantly opening, except during COVID, what would you say are some of the essential elements to opening a new store, but maintaining that same kind of brand integrity?
It's really hard. I mean, it's the hardest thing I think about operating restaurants is there's so much institutional knowledge among the employees of these stores that have been operating for 10 years. And it takes a while to develop that. And, a lot of it's training. I think we really focus on training. We have a whole training program. We have a director of training now. And we have our own proprietary system that we developed actually for training. We used a couple of open source solutions to create this training platform. But, there's a lot of things like, where are they going to keep the fire extinguisher, or all these things that don't get decided and don't get included in the training manual that kind of just get learned on the spot. And I think it takes at least 3 months for us to really feel like the store can kind of operate and be a little bit self-sufficient. And then it takes 2 to 3 years for the sales and for the market to develop and for people to start to appreciate your concept. We made a conscious decision to go and open stores in Philadelphia. So we have 2 stores there. And we really wanted to show that the brand could be successful outside of our home market. So that was like a whole different challenge of along that longer development schedule of building sales for 2 to 3 years for them to kind of really reach their full potential. So yeah, I mean, it's incredibly difficult. I think training is hugely important, and just providing the support to the ops crew there is essential.
You said you have 70 more stores in development. What kind of a geographic reach will that look like then? And will you be coming to Colorado where I am?
Hopefully, not within the next 5 years. Right now, we're primarily going to focus on the East Coast. We've got one franchisee in Northern Virginia, one franchisee in the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area. We've got 2 franchisees in the New Jersey area, And then we've got one big franchisee down in Florida. So they've actually got a 40 unit deal, all kind of on the west coast of Florida.
Okay. Wow. Awesome. I have one more question for you, but just tell me first how people can find out about District Taco from a customer standpoint and also maybe from a franchisee standpoint.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, our website's the best place, www.districttaco.com. If you want to look at our food, and then any interest in franchising, we've got franchising.districttaco.com.
Okay, awesome. Hey, last question. When you go to District Taco as a customer, what's kind of your go-to item of choice?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I think my ideal meal would be a breakfast burrito. I think our breakfast is second to none, and that's another thing that makes us so unique. So I usually go with the breakfast burrito. Depending on if I want to get chorizo or Itza, which is our Beyond Meat product, I'll go with one of those two. And then the salsas, we make all of our salsas fresh every day. So the mestizo salsa is my favorite. And then we also have a habanero that's actually hot, which you can't really get hot food or spicy food at any other brand. So that's my go-to for that. And then for sides, we have chips and queso, and we let people add toppings. So I always get chorizo and jalapenos in my queso. And then to top it all off, I go with the churro for dessert.
Nice. Awesome. Wow. Sounds fantastic. So you guys are open for breakfast too, or do you just sell breakfast burritos as part of your regular menu?
Yep. We serve breakfast all day.
Okay, great. Hey, Chris, it's been great to talk to you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Ed. It's good to meet you.
So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Top Business Leaders Show, powered by Rise 25. Visit rise25.com to check out more episodes of the show and to learn more about how you can start your own podcast.